Okay, hello and good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for showing up this early to hear our talk about why we think designers are the superheroes of the green shifts. But before we start, let's introduce ourselves. So I'm Goril.
And I'm Julie, and we both work as designers in NOAA Ignite. NOAA Ignite is a part of NOAA, which is named the North Alliance. And NOAA is a family of creative companies that work with different parts of the design, tech, and communications industry. And within most of the NOAA companies, there are designers of different kinds.
But what is really design? We see that design is spoken about and defined in many different ways, not only in the world in general, and not only inside the creative industry, but also within our own company. We had a quick chat with some of our colleagues and did some Google searches on which words people use to define design. And there are a lot of different definitions out there. And that is why we wanted to start this talk with clarifying what we talk about when we talk about design. Because we feel, and I hope you agree with us on this one, that it's too shallow to only talk about beauty, shape, and color when describing design. Design to us is all of that, but it's also so much more. So instead of trying to put words on it or try to find definitions to decipher what design is, we thought we'd try another approach to get a common understanding. So we have two questions for you. And I hope that you will use the chat to share your thoughts on these two questions. And the first question is, think about a product or service that you really love and why. So please share your thoughts in the chat and we'll give you a couple of seconds to do that. I can see the answers are kicking in. Thank you for participating. I think we're going to go to the second question, which is think of a product or a service that really annoys or frustrates you. And why is it so annoying? And again, we'll give you a couple of moments to share in the chat with us.
I think we can move on and you can just share as we go.
Yeah, but thank you for joining in.
Thank you for joining. So we see that some of you mentioned, we see Helt Hjem, Oda, Spotify, Google search for what you love. And bus for train, I can agree on that, for what frustrates you. We have asked some of our colleagues in advance the same questions because we thought it might be a bit early to get a lot of responses. And the answers, some of the answers we received on the love side are these. So on the left, the products and services people loved, and on the right, the products and services that frustrates people. And you can even see that some of the products and services are mentioned on both sides, which tells us that the same thing that are working well to one person might frustrate another one. Or you might even have a love-hate relationship to different parts of the same product. So what is it that all of these on the love side has in common? And what is it that all of the things on the annoyed side has in common? What can we learn from these lists of products and services? Well, when we dug into why our colleagues love these things, we can summarize the findings in these 4 points. It just works. It solves a problem I have. It gives me joy and it helps me in my everyday life. And on the other side, with the things that frustrate us, the list of whys is a direct opposite of the ones from the love side. It never works. It doesn't solve a problem I have. It makes me feel frustrated, and it's a hassle to use in my everyday life. As you hopefully still can recall from the feeling from thinking about the product or service that you love and a product or service that frustrates you, you can recognize these things. And this is where design comes in. We experience the good things to the left because of the way it is designed, But on the other hand, the things on the right side have also been designed. So we got a little darkness here, but that's fine. And this is where design comes in. So the difference here is design done right and design done wrong. And in our minds, design is everywhere. We realize that it's a quite broad definition, but the point is that even bad design is also design. And you can't not design anything when you create something and put it out to the world, but you can do it right and end up with products and services people love to use, or you can do it wrong and end up with products and services that frustrates and annoys people. And we shouldn't underestimate the power that design has over the quality of people's life. So if we have the choice, why shouldn't we create things that work and can be loved?
I'm sure a lot of you have already seen this model. The reason why this model is so widely used is that it illustrates what is needed to ensure we're in the design done right category, creating solutions that are right in the sweet spot, meeting real user needs and solving real problems in a good way. We as designers should be asking ourselves at every stage of the process, is this feasible? Can it be done? Is it easy to implement? Is it viable? Should we do this? Does it have a commercial model? And is it desirable? Do people want it? Does it satisfy the needs of the user? Asking these questions make us capable of knowing we're creating value for both people and profit. But what about planet? And so this is where all this talk about design meets the green shift. In our opinion, there's a fourth lens we should add to the model called sustainability. And just to be clear, sustainability is a lot of different topics and not only about the green stuff. But for this talk, let's focus on the green shift, because there's no denying it. We do have a climate crisis. And in order to create sustainable solutions for today and tomorrow, we need to think not only about people and profit, but also about our planet when we design. Is it good for the world?
So why it might be a big ballsy or boobsy, as we try to say that designers are the superheroes of the green shift, we don't feel like we're totally wrong either. But first of all, let's just make it clear that a lot of the famous superheroes we know from movies and comic books, they are in a team, an alliance or a group where they partner up with other superheroes. So take the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, or the Justice League of America. Superheroes need to cooperate and find partners in order to solve a problem, which also goes for designers. And designers have to cooperate with developers, with economists, with managers or product leads, and with customers and users. So our point is that we want to bring forward in this talk is the fact that how designers work is an amazing match with what is needed for approaching challenges of the green shift.
So to be able to give you guys the same eureka moment as we have had, we want to identify some of the characteristics of how we designers work. And just for the cause of the superhero story, let's call this the designer superpowers. And the designer superpowers are design focus on actual needs. Design challenges status quo with structured creativity. And design brings different stakeholders together to solve complex problems. And the last one is designers are able to create products and services that people love to use. So these are the four characteristics which we think describe what designers do. Now let's dig further into how these match up with the challenges of the green shift, and let's address the challenges as the green shift monster problems, because all superheroes are fighting some sort of monster. So the first monster problem is about how the challenges of the green shift require us to really understand the underlying user needs of a product or a service. And now let's get a bit further into what that actually means.
So to look on why it is important to focus on the user need, let's take this example. I want to buy a new dress. And as designers, what we do is to understand the real need, which is not necessarily to buy a new dress. We don't accept this, and we dig further down to ask questions to understand the need behind this statement. So we ask, okay, but why do you need a new dress? It's because I want a new dress for a wedding I'm attending. And we continue, we don't accept that. So we go, okay, but why? Because I want to wear something different than the last wedding I attended. Okay, but why do you want to do that? Because I want to look and feel good. And this is where the real need actually shows up. So when we ask enough of the whys, and dig down, we're able to strip away wrong assumptions about what the user need is, and we end up with the actual user need. And when we look at this deepest need, that I want to look and feel good, we realize that there are a lot of possibilities to meet this need. Buying a new dress is only one way of meeting the need, but you can also borrow it from someone. You can purchase a dress secondhand. If you're sewing, you can make your own dress. And this example is not random. I've had this exact need myself when attending different weddings with the same group of friends and wanting to look and feel good. It would of course be great if I could just get one dress and wear that in all long dress occasions, but it doesn't really solve my desire to wear something different than the last time. And besides, there are a limited number of occasions to wear such a dress. So even if I had sacrificed this desire and worn the same dress to all of the weddings I was attending, I would still be able to count on my hands the number of wears, and that's not exactly sustainable. So what if there was a solution to my need without compromising my wants that's also good for the planet? And as the women who founded Fyong, a clothing rental service, realized, rental of dresses is a great way to meet that need. In the picture you see here, I'm wearing a dress rented from Fyong for this occasion only. Actually, 6 of the dresses you see in this picture are all rented from Fyong. And by being able to dig down to the actual user need, Fyong has managed to design a new concept that is better for the planet. It creates new business models, and it solves the problem of wanting to look and feel good, which makes the user love it. If they were to just scratch the surface here and assume that the need of purchasing a new dress is the actual need, the opportunities for solving this need are a lot fewer. We can say that we can make a new dress in a more sustainable material, but we are not able to make enough change for it to matter on a larger scale without really understanding the user need at the bottom and working with innovation from there. And this goes for a lot of established products and services we have today that is built upon a take, make, waste mindset. A lot of them can be made more circular and cause less damage to the planet if we are able to think as designer and ask questions that dig even further down, a little bit more digging to find the actual deepest need. And it's only then we can manage to design products and services that fulfill all the different circles in our 4 parts of the Venn diagram we showed earlier.
So now we know that we need to dig deep into user needs in order to find the opportunities to design more sustainable solutions. But then what? What should we do once we've discovered these opportunities? The next monster problem addresses this with the need to be creative to find new and innovative solutions to existing problems. As designers, we are trained in coming up with ideas, and we have structured methods for unleashing creativity. We facilitate workshops, co-creation, and ideation sessions to come up with creative and new ideas. Sketching and prototyping is our second nature, and we always seek to find new ways. Creative thinking is a structured and methodical way. Creative thinking in a structured and methodical way are key skills for coming up with the solutions to the challenges of the green shift. One example from our own work is the Circularity Workshop we have designed to discover and explore new opportunities. Creativity is happening when we take what everyone has already seen and think about it in a new way. This might be easier said than done, but the process of coming up with these creative thoughts can also be designed. In NOAA Ignite, we've designed the workshop that let us collaborate with our clients to come up with new ideas and spark creative thinking. The purpose of the workshop is to take a non-circular product and find a circular solution to the needs behind the product. In the workshop, we go through different stages, starting with understanding and moving on to ideating and conceptualizing. We're building on what we already know and opening up to new and unexpected connections, which step by step takes us closer to a better solution. By breaking it down and going at it step by step, introducing different techniques to come up with ideas at every stage, we've structured the creative process in a way that means we don't have to solve the whole thing up front. The green shift will need a totally new mindset of innovation, where established design methods and approaches is a great way to facilitate and unlock this kind of creative potential.
Okay, so now we've talked about the importance of understanding user needs and the power of structured creativity. Another design green shift monster problem is about what happens along the way in the process of designing something. We need to move away from having separate and individual mental models to shared mental models that give us a common understanding of the whole picture and how everything is connected. We are faced with huge and complex challenges of the green shift, and it requires system thinking. So this elephant drawing illustrates that it's so easy to fall into the pitfall of thinking that your perspective is the right one and the only one. But to get a better understanding of the whole, we need to zoom out and see the same situation from all perspectives. We need to see the whole elephant. And an important part of the design process, okay, sorry, it's a bit,
there's something
I think
wrong
we're just gonna be on the elephant here. Yeah. I can just look at the speaking notes on your side.
Yeah. Sorry.
Slide 17. Yeah, so an important part of the design process is to find important stakeholders, talk to people, highlight the things they have in common, and acknowledge their differences, identifying the challenges we're all trying to solve and paint a bigger picture for everyone to see. So designers do this to ensure that the things we design actually work in the real world, because the real world consists of different people and different perspectives, which we need to collect and design for in order to create something that is feasible, viable, desirable, and sustainable. And Too Good To Go is a great example of what happens when you take a look at the bigger picture and how everything's connected. To work on the food waste issue, they've had to see the connection between grocery stores, cafes, restaurants, hotels, and the recycling system, and also understand rules, regulations, and requirements for food safety. They've had to understand the economy of the food system in order to come up with a solution that is profitable to all the involved parts. And to be able to take all this insight from the different players in the food industry and come up with a solution that people want to use, they have had to understand people and their needs. So they have spent time and effort to understand this whole elephant of food waste, not just from the point of view of a restaurant, not just from the point of view of a consumer or a food regulation expert, but by putting it all together. And even better, by enabling all of these players to be a part in this service, they are able to actually offer a solution to this complex food waste problem that works in the real world and consider multiple needs at the same time.
So now we know that understanding user needs is key, and we know that we can use structured creative processes to find new ideas. And we know that we can use design for complex system thinking to ensure that what we design actually works in the real world. The final green shift monster problem is probably also the most obvious one. As we've seen earlier in this talk, people love products that both look good and serve a purpose in their life. At the same time as we have to reduce consumption, people are still going to want and need things. As designers, we need to be aware of the footprint we create when we design and put things into the world. At the same time, we also have to be aware of the opportunity we're presented with to nudge, impact, and change behavior. In fact, the green shift needs us to design things that look good and that we love to use, but we need to do it in a way that is more sustainable or that help us take more sustainable choices. So the last monster problem is about the need to create lovable things in order to make a change. And to illustrate what we mean, we want to use the Ruter travel app as an example. Ruter is the main transportation provider in the greater Oslo area, and they've been a client of NOAA Ignites since 2013. So it's quite funny to see that most of the annoying services that came in the chat is actually has got to do with public transport. So the stakes are high. When working with a service that touches so many people every day, it is a great opportunity to nudge people towards making greener travel choices. And for the Ruter team working with a new travel app, one of the success criteria has been to design towards a product that the people will love to use in their everyday life. If you want to encourage a change in people's behavior, we need to make it fun, inspiring, and joyful to choose the more green travel choice. This can, for instance, mean that we apply a friendly and helpful tone of voice, that the visual design is inclusive and inviting, and by focusing on simplifying and adding elements of gamification, like nudging people to bike or walk. And this goes for a lot of the other challenges of the green shift as well. It requires a change in behavior for you and for me. And to get everyone along, we need to use this last design superpower to make the better choices fun, inspiring, and easy to choose.
Great. So now I hope you all can see what a great match there is between design superpowers and some of the challenges of the green shift. So with this background, I guess we can all agree that designers are the superheroes of the green shift. If there's two things that we hope you'll take away from this talk, it is that you have reflected over what design is and why it is such a powerful tool in tackling the challenges of the green shift. And second, that we as designers need to act responsibly when presented with this opportunity to impact both people, profit, and planet. Or to say the same thing using this famous quote, "Great power comes with great responsibility," said by the legendary Peter Parker, better known as Spider-Man. So thank you so much for listening. And now we're open to any questions you might have in the chat, or if you want to say them out loud, that's okay as well. And we'll try to answer the best we can.
Yeah.